Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here we have Boris in the
Hi.
in the room. Hello, welcome
Hello.
back. Last week we went on about Joe Sherlock's
Uh,
two films called Odd Noggins and
uh,
Odd Noggins the remake.
yeah, correct.
But today we're going to do another comparison about two very different anthologies, uh, but
Indeed.
but they are also the same in a sense because
Well, some of them, yeah.
so the first anthology was supposedly well, it has a copyright according to you in 2001. Uh,
Yes,
but
that's.
but IMDb says 2003, so it's somewhere in
Hmm.
that vicinity of coming out. Maybe the VHS had a release there, and then I don't know.
Well, I don't know for certain. As far as I was told, the VHS was unreleased. I think it was only made for the cast and crew and so on, but I managed to buy a copy from Joe Sherlock, and I also have it transferred to DVD. Uh, yeah, I think this anthology, as it is, remained unreleased, but it consists of three shorts, one by Ron Ford, which I think I appeared on one of his anthologies. I think it's called Deadly Tales, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
Ron Ford's anthology, and the other two shorts.
Deadly Tales is also known as, I believe, Things Three.
Oh, really? I
Uh,
didn't know.
yeah, it's part of the David Sterling stuff now, I guess.
Hmm, interesting.
You said Deadly Tales, right?
Yes, yeah, I think so. If I didn't remember it wrongly, I do think that Ron Ford's short Bestiality, which appeared on Werewolf Tales, was. I think it appeared on an anthology called Deadly Tales, but I don't know that one.
Or was it Dead Time Tales?
Whew, maybe I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking because this particular short film has you called it brutality, right?
Bestiality,
Bestiality. So
yeah.
bestiality on this particular anthology is about a criminal gang that comes across apparently some kind of ancient ancestral ring
Yeah.
that brings out your inner rage, right?
Yeah. Well, it apparently triggers some animal instincts in the person who uses it.
So, um, uh, the mob boss in here, his character is played by Randall Malone.
Yes. I I don't remember seeing that actor in other movies, but yeah, I haven't checked much of Ron Ford's movies yet, but I may get to them at some point.
Well, I actually happen to have seen Randall Malone in other films myself. So,
Oh, cool.
to me, Randall Malone, he's often to me been like the Dom DeLuise of independent films.
Oh,
Oftentimes, when you see Randall Malone, you will. He actually had his own home that he would actually allow the directors that would work with him film inside. So that was something nice about him.
Oh
Um,
wow, I
that
didn't know.
that people would be able to work with, you know. So um, oftentimes, whenever things were filmed inside his home, it actually looked like it could have been in some like royal. It actually looked like some kind of fancy set, you know. So,
Well, that's pretty cool.
but
I didn't know.
well, the things you learn. but
Indeed.
but apparently, so there seems to be a guy who has this ring, who seems to be kind of an antiquity dealer of sorts,
Yes.
who seems to be in debt with the mob in some
Uh,
way, shape, or form.
yeah, apparently he owes them some money, if I understood correctly.
Correct, but there is another guy who evidently has shown up in here that has says that the ring has been in his family for many years, and
Uh,
he warns the mob dude played by Randall Malone
uh,
about the ring. Correct?
yeah, the guy is aware of the ring's magical powers, while Harry Randall Malone's character, he only thinks about money. At that point, he doesn't think magic or any such thing exists.
And before we go on, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to spoil the shit out of these short films for you. So,
Indeed.
if anything, get or procure a copy of these if you can. If not, I guess it was a very limited release, at least this anthology, and it was fairly decent for what it was, I guess. If it had been released in any given point in time, because it has three stories, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So, what are the other two tales in here? And what was your first impression of this Werewolf Tales
Well,
anthology?
Well, that's a little difficult to answer because I saw Beneath a Dead Moon before I saw Werewolf Tales, so I was already familiar with the other two tales called Dark Bite by John Bowker and Nowhere to Hide by Joe Sherlock, or as it's titled in Werewolf Tales, No Place to Hide. So, yeah, these two tales are by John Bowker and Joe Sherlock, and they are in Werewolf Tales. The editing is very different from what is more easily available on Beneath a Dead Moon. So, uh, I'm sorry. What was your question about the other two shorts?
Well, what was your first impression of Werewolf Tales, when you finally got a copy of it?
Oh, well, at first, of course, I was very happy to have it in the first place because I knew how rare it was. But speaking of the movies themselves, well, the one we have discussed, Bestiality, it was. It was the most interesting to see because I had not watched it before. Now, about Dark Bite and
I would actually say it was probably one of the better of the three, to be honest, at the time.
well, yeah, indeed. Uh, yeah, in Dark Bite and Nowhere to Hide. Well, I would say maybe the background music wasn't the quite the best fitting. It was better done on Beneath a Dead Moon, in my opinion. However, I really enjoyed the Werewolf Tales version as well because it contains some scenes that we did not get to see on Beneath a Dead Moon. They were excluded. Like in Dark Bite, there is a scene where Stewart's boss watches a videotape where we see some video where John Bowker and Yvette Sherlock played, and that entire part was excluded from the Beneath a Dead Moon version. Uh,
That's
or
right. That's right. Although an intro was added to Dark Bite, if I remember correctly.
yes, on Beneath a Dead Moon we get this nice little new intro with Felicia Pandolfi with some, I think it was some newer footage there. I think it was filmed at the time when they were working on Bloodsucking Redneck Vampires. And on Beneath a Dead Moon, we also get an extra scene in Nowhere to Hide. There is a scene with Shannon and one guy, I forgot what the actor was called.
Uh, because Beneath a Dead Moon does not have a IMDb page, it's hard to go back to an actor or an actress if you're looking for the
Uh,
name of an actor or an actress. And
well, yeah,
Werewolf Tales still needs to be updated too. So,
indeed. Well, yeah, on Beneath a Dead Moon in Nowhere to Hide, there is this whole extra scene with Shannon and that actor whose name I cannot remember now, where she accuses him of cheating and they have some argument and so on, and they both end up getting killed. Presumably by this monster that Warren EBB's character transforms into.
okay. And actually, my this was both of these were actually I actually picked up Joe Sherlock's entire filmography, at least way before Things and
Dark Zone 13.
Dark Zone 13. I ended up buying the entirety of his filmography, like in one fell swoop.
Oh, wow.
And Beneath a Dead Moon was in the a whole stack, which right now it's probably in one of my bee boxes behind me. I tried
Yeah,
looking above me where some bees are, and it was not there. So it has to be in one of these boxes. But
possibly.
but I didn't get a chance to find it entirely. But you have a copy of it.
I do, yes.
And you ended up putting a copy of Werewolf Tales to DVD yourself.
Well, actually, this one, no, I actually got Werewolf Tales on DVD before I got VHS. It was Joe Sherlock who transferred it from VHS to DVD for me, but
Oh,
later
okay.
on he also sold me a VHS copy, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So last night was my first time watching Tales, and then today was my first time watching. So I had a little bit opposite experience. I watched Werewolf Tales before Beneath the Dead Moon, and
Oh.
let me tell you, I mean, to me, I noticed that that scene was in fact discarded in Dark Bite, and I think that it was cleaned up some. I feel like there was a scene that might have been added in Dark Bite as well.
Maybe. Well, there is this intro scene that I mentioned with Felicia Pandolfi, but what else was added in Dark Bite?
I don't seem to remember. maybe it's not in that one. Maybe I was thinking of the following anthology.
Oh,
Um, the following short film.
oh, nowhere to hide.
Yeah, Nowhere to Hide. I don't remember there being someone with his girlfriend at any given point in time in the Werewolf Tales one, right before he met the shapeshifter that was supposed to be his grandfather.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, in that's nowhere to hide. Yeah, like I said, there was this whole extra scene, but now about the guy's girlfriend or wife, I don't know what she was,
I'm not
but
sure exactly what she was either. She was just kind of there.
yeah. Well, she was until the shapeshifter killed her.
Yeah, he
Uh,
got hungry.
yeah.
But uh, they're not all werewolf films, are they?
No, they are not on Beneath a Dead Moon. So on Beneath a Dead Moon we have six shorts and a bonus short. So one thing about Beneath a Dead Moon is that many of its shorts can be found elsewhere in one form or another. Like the first short, Tainted Blood, a vampire tale. It can also be found with a different editing on Joel D. Wynkoop's anthology Always Midnight, which I have right here. Then the second short, Superstar, can also be found on an anthology that I don't own, sadly. It's called Dead Ink,
Okay.
but I don't have it, but I know about it. Then we have Dark Bite and Nowhere to Hide, which, as we have mentioned, are on Werewolf Tales with different editing. Then there is Beetle Maniac, a bug story, which can also be found also with different editing on a Joe Sherlock anthology called Truly Dreadful Tales, which I do have, but it's not right here at the moment. And Scent of the Sasquatch can be found. It's a Bigfoot tale. It can also be found on YouTube on Joe Sherlock's channel. And the bonus short, The Eyeball of Fear, it can be found on Joe Sherlock's anthology, an old one called Vampirissa's Velvet Vault of Horror.
Which
Uh,
I believe that you also sent me a copy of that as well.
yeah, yeah, I did. We could discuss that one at some point if you're interested.
Definitely in the future, I would love to. I know it's short, feature of sorts.
Uh,
So,
well, Vampirissa contains four shorts, and then there is a little story with Vampirissa herself, the hostess of the anthology.
okay. But going back to the
Uh,
beneath a dead moon.
oh yeah, yeah.
What do you think Tainted Blood was about?
Oh, well, Tainted Blood was one of my favorite tales in this one because it has a very clever plot twist. So it is a vampire tale. It takes place in the future where humanity is fighting a war against vampires. And the story is. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it seems like there seems to be kind of a war going on, whether it was between like werewolves or vampires. It might have been implied as there being like two different beings. You would almost think that maybe there would be werewolves on the other side of vampires,
like in Twilight.
or in a movie called Bloodlines, I think, or trying to think. There,
Uh,
there was a or yeah, in Twilight, yeah.
yeah, so Tainted Blood is focused on these two characters, Ray, played by Bob Olin, and Melinda, played by Tony Dragon. So, as far as it seems at the beginning, Melinda is apparently human, which later we find out that she's not quite, while Bob Olin's character Ray, he appears to be a man who was bitten by a vampire, and it looks like he might end up transforming into a vampire or something. He appears to be afraid of what is happening to him, like there is a band-aid on his neck, which implies that he was beaten, and
Mhm.
that's what leads to a very clever plot twist later on. Well, that short was written by John Bowker, and he is very good at writing plot twists. So yeah, Ray and Melinda are husband and wife, and
So
it
John Bowker has really been like a focal point, like behind some of Joe Sherlock's directing abilities. I mean,
uh,
it seems like it's like John Bowker gave him the boost that he needed to go out and do some of his own features and write some of his own stuff.
well, now I don't know for certain if Joe Sherlock's oldest movies, maybe some of them are older than John Bowker's first ones. I don't know for certain, but yeah, John Bowker's work probably had was it probably had a lot of impact on Joe Sherlock's work as well, because Joe was director of photography on all of John Bowker's movies, and it was probably also some learning experience for Joe as well.
Well, I was just thinking about the fact that some of Joe Sherlock's earlier stuff, specifically like this particular short that we're speaking about, is written by John Bowker. Um, not everything that Joe Sherlock has directed has been written by him entirely. It's
Uh,
just
Not everything. I think most of his movies were written by him, but probably not all. Yeah, Tainted Blood was written by John Bowker. I think maybe Blood Creek Woodsman also was. I'm not sure. I
written by,
think.
I believe it was written by John Bowker. Kevin Lindenmuth wrote the story behind No Place to Hide.
Yes, yes, he did.
So, and if I remember correctly, Kevin Lindenmuth's company was in fact Brimstone Entertainment, which was
Yes.
which was somewhat behind the Werewolf Tales.
Yes, yes.
Uh, though it was not entirely, although it's somewhat mentioned in Beneath the Dead Moon, it's not fully produced by um, Brimstone Entertainment. Beneath the Dead Moon.
Oh, well, let's see if it says anything on the cover. Well, uh,
I
well,
think
I
it's just
cannot find
Skullface.
anything.
I
Uh,
think it's just Skullface Astronaut. That because once he took the tales from Werewolf Tales, he connected them to these other tales. So in doing, it kind of broke whatever it seems like Kevin Lindenmuth's company might have been doing with Werewolf Tales.
mm, well, Possibly. I think I may have heard about it in the past, but I don't remember it in detail anymore.
But in any case, the second it seems like the second short film in here is new too.
Yeah.
In because there was Tainted Blood, then there was Superstar.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Uh,
so what did you think about Superstar?
well, that one was also pretty interesting, and unlike the other shorts in this anthology, this one actually doesn't contain anything paranormal in the end. It is a story about this woman, Crystal, who got a tattoo, but she didn't pay for it, and now the tattoo artist is after her, trying to force her to pay, while she keeps making excuses and postponing it. Yeah, but
Well, there are those you can sometimes borrow from or people borrow from you and they never pay you back. Sometimes you feel like you want to strangle them.
indeed.
uh,
Well, yeah, the tattoo artist is an interesting villain here because, well, at first we don't really know that he is a bad guy, but throughout the bigger part of this story, he appears to be in a hurry to get this money. But in the end, it seems like maybe it wasn't really so much about money, but about his own about the very feeling that someone owes him money and isn't paying because as we saw at the end he barged into her place and he tied her up and he cut the tattoo off her boob where it was and after he did that he is obviously not getting any money from her, so maybe it wasn't so much about money for him after all.
Maybe not, but she ended up getting hers in the end, anyways.
Well,
What
yeah.
did you think about the blood and the special effects there? Do you think it was believable?
Well, it was pretty believable, and it was a pretty gruesome thing to imagine because, as I said, there is nothing paranormal in that story. It's something that actually could happen in real life, which makes it even more terrifying.
Well, it was definitely more implied that she was tortured to get that staple of ink off of her chest.
Well, yeah, he cut a piece of skin off her breast, the piece containing the tattoo.
So, in any case, the next short film on this anthology was it not? It was Dark Bite, was it not?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you said that before that the Pandolfi girl,
Yes,
Felicia
yes.
Pandolfi, had some newer footage
Uh,
as an intro of a Lady in Red. Lady in Red.
indeed, indeed, yeah. If you compare her looks in the intro to what she looks like throughout the short, you can see she looks a little bit different. She looks more the way she does in Blood-Sucking Redneck Vampires, which is how I recognized. It was filmed later, but yeah, as you imagine, Dark Bite is my favorite short in Beneath a Dead Moon, and Yes, I am probably biased towards that one because Felicia Pandolfi plays in it, and yeah, it is my favorite short. And regarding the story, it somewhat reminds me of The Seekers. Of John Bowker's movie, and Dark Bite actually was directed by John Bowker, although it wasn't written by him. But yeah, there is a very interesting similarity between Total Evil, Felicia Pandolfi's character in The Seekers, and the werewolf, the character she plays in The Dark Bite. Like, they are both paranormal women we don't know much about, and they appear to prey on emotionally weak and troubled people to lure them into their paranormal thing. So while Tota operates with her videotapes, the werewolf has this so-called Book of the Beast, which she appears to people facing some emotional struggles, and she tricks them into obtaining that book and reading it and getting interested in what she's offering.
In fact, the main actor in this Dark Bite, he reads off some kind of a spell that
Uh,
will turn him into a bear or something like that.
well, I think it turns him into some wolf-like carnivorous creature. So,
Instead,
uh, yeah, so Stuart, the main character of this story, played by Bob Olin, he he is an emotionally troubled man, mostly facing bullying at work. So people he works with, especially this one woman named Cindy, she bullies him, and she is actually a really bad person. Like throughout the short, she says a few times that she wishes he was dead. Although I
well, although there was a certain section that it seems like she was talking about him, where she says that he came on to her and she just wishes that he were dead in the same sentence.
oh
Uh, so instead it kind of looks like he was some kind of a freak and decided to one day supposedly flirt with her or something like that, and she didn't want it or something like that. That's how I took it.
Phew, well, somehow I missed this part where you say she said he had come on to her. I somehow missed that, so I will have to check it again. But uh, yeah, as far as we see throughout the short, we don't really see him show much romantic interest in her, but
the
he
way
does.
the way I take this short film is that he's just this geeky guy in an office job, and he's terrible at his work.
Uh,
What his passion is reading this book of the beasts, and apparently he's not well liked at work. So the people who don't like him, including his boss, he wants to contact the paranormal or the dead or whatever the fuck it is, and just wreak havoc on them. You know, just kind of be a stronger person than he knows he is.
Yeah, well, one interesting thing, this item in the short Book of the Beast, the term beast is usually more associated with Satanism, which in this short it's not the case. It's just about becoming a literal beast, not the beast from the Book of Revelation, but this guy becomes a wolf of some sort. And yeah, he contacts the paranormal, the werewolf who can transform him into a beast because he hopes he can it will help him eliminate people who are making his life miserable.
Unfortunately, I think this werewoman is also someone in league with Satan. So I think there actually is a Satanism aspect of the werewoman.
Uh,
She is the entity that to me, and it, you could take it a different way,
oh, you
but
say you say she is in league with Satan. I didn't notice that.
because
How did you figure it
because
out?
because he contacted her through the book, and she
Yes,
appeared. And
yes.
so, in fact, to me, it's like she is what because most people when they see gods or goddesses or demons in their true form, they'd lose their shit if they saw them in their true forms. You know.
Indeed.
Uh, so in order to uh, relate to someone, if you're a demon or a god or anything like that, you come as this beautiful woman, you know.
Oh.
So to me, she was in fact a demoness of some sort.
Well,
Um,
could be.
whether she was in league with Satan, I don't know. I don't know. See, I tend to believe that the Book of Beasts is more of a satanic book.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's what I was saying. And it has
so
a pentagram too.
yep, it looks pretty wicked. If there was a book out there like it, at first I was thinking like he had like the book of the Necronomicon or something like that, but instead it was the Book of Monsters or Book of Beasts per se. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to me, he kept seeing her when she wasn't there at the office.
Yeah. Well, it
So,
was.
so to me, it was like she was already demonically trying to possess him.
Well, yes. She apparently knew what he was going through, and she recognized him as a good target for her agenda.
So after Dark Bite, we have another film that is uh, is not on our original Werewolf Tales, correct?
Yeah, it's Beetle Maniac.
Okay, and so it appears that there is a blind date that is going on. Why don't you tell me a little bit
Uh,
about our two blind date? Uh, uh,
oh yeah. Well, I must say, Beetle Maniac was the first and maybe the only Joe Sherlock movie that actually managed to properly terrify me the first time I saw it because I don't quite like insects in real life, so that's why this one was a little bit off-putting the first time I saw it.
what's the insect you don't like the most?
Well, I would say bees and wasps.
Okay.
Yeah, well, this is a different type of insect, but yeah, the first time I saw it, I didn't know what that insect mask was made of, so it made it look even more terrifying. Yeah, so in this story we have a blind date. So this main girl is getting hooked up with a mysterious guy who apparently uh, does some research on insects, which is a part of his job, from what I understood. And what we don't know at first is that he is well, kind of like a werewolf, but not a wolf, but an insect instead, a huge carnivorous one.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he during the date he goes to the bathroom and he transforms into this insect-like monster and
Well,
he eats.
that date actually went almost as bad as a date could probably go, too. You know,
Indeed.
because
It,
she came into the kitchen and had her bra showing, so
uh,
she had to turn around and fix that. And then when he gave her the roses, he noticed that he accidentally left a cheap ass price tag on the flowers.
indeed.
And then she said that dinner was almost done. Well, dinner was supposedly supposed to be spaghetti. Well, she couldn't find the paste sauce in the shelf. So things did not exactly go according to either one of them's plans.
uh,
So it seems like both of them are like the awkward couple trying to get together.
Indeed, but at that point, when you think it just can't get any worse, then it does get worse. Even before he attacks her, there is this part where he is telling her about his job, and he tells her with plenty of details about how he saw a beetle eat a bat alive, and it's
We're not talking about the '60s band, folks.
uh,
We're talking about real Beatles here.
yeah, yeah, about an insect attacking a bat and disintegrating it and eating it alive.
A
Well,
vampire bat, if I remember correctly.
yeah, could be. I cannot even repeat it. Everything that guy said in the movie, it was really nasty.
Yeah, but when he came out of that bathroom, he certainly was attractive, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was like I said, it was probably one of the more graphic Joe Sherlock movies out there.
Yeah, she was certainly pushing up daisies by the end of there.
Yeah.
But anyways, next after this short film was a short film that was in the previous one. What was
Yeah.
what
Uh,
was different about No Place to Hide? And that is HYDE.
yeah. Well, the first thing that's different is, like we said before, the video quality and the editing is different. It has a different background music and it has an extra scene. So at this point, when Warren EBB's character apparently transforms into a wolf-like creature, well, later we find out it's not transformation but something else. But yeah, at that point. In Werewolf Tales, we see a short moment when Rob Merrill's character approaches him right after transformation and he says something, but I didn't manage to distinguish it in
Uh,
Werewolf Tales.
Transportation.
Yeah, well, that's what comes later, but at this point, when Warren EBB's character, when we see him with a brown face, like transformed, or what we find out later is not transformation, but transportation, when he appears in this new form for the first time. In Werewolf Tales, at that point, we see Rob Merrill's character approach him and say something, but I didn't manage to distinguish what it was.
Well, from what I understand, Rob Miracle's character was in fact the Hyde character of his grandfather, because his
Uh,
grandfather was supposedly Dr. Jekyll.
Correct.
So this Hyde character of his grandfather was looking for the right way to take him back to wherever he came from, whatever
Uh,
time period he came from.
Yeah, apparently, as according to what we find out at the end of the short, he was some human wolf hybrid from an alternate dimension, and when he was transported into our world, if I understood correctly, at first he had that same form, but he had a plastic surgery to make him look more human, to fit in with this world, but he was trying to go back to his own world, which is why he needed the
Food.
help of.
He,
Yeah,
he needed what he ended up being is his food, and we see them. Them one guy running and the other, it was just it was just a little bit comical because he did not he thought that he was there to like be the scientist when in fact he just needed
y-
he just needed refreshments, man.
yeah, it was quite some plot twist. While when you retell it this way, like Warren EBB's character wasn't brought to this alternate dimension for scientific reasons, but just for a snack. It may sound a bit anticlimactic, but when you watch the short, it's actually a pretty surprising and pretty cool twist. Yeah,
Dr.
and
Jekyll was very tasty.
yeah, and as mentioned previously, the Beneath a Dead Moon version of this story.
I
Uh,
actually thought that Rob Miracle's werewolf mask, whatever he had on, makeup wise, was actually pretty damn good
yes,
for what he turned into.
it was pretty good, and it appeared on both front covers. So this is Rob Miracle's character in Nowhere to Hide, or No Place to Hide, as it was originally titled.
He's almost half Klingon, half Vulcan.
Indeed, indeed. Nice comparison.
But in any case, so the next short film is, in fact, not on the werewolf tales. Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, the next tale is called Scent of the Sasquatch. So
Is this the last one before the bloopers? Then
yes, it is the last one before the bloopers, and I think it's probably the newest short. I think that one was made in 2011, or at least that was when it appeared on YouTube for the first time.
okay,
So
we see Dale here, Dale Wilson, and
yeah.
without a mustache.
Yeah, Dale Wilson plays. I think he plays. Is it a cop or something like that? I'm not sure.
Deputy of some sort.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's it. He is in this park with these two girls played by Brian Christie and Sabrina Larry, if I pronounced her surname correctly.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so I think this story might have been inspired by King Kong, as we see on the back cover. We see the Sasquatch holding Brian Christie's character, and it kind of alludes to King Kong's fixation on the female character, and Yeah, in this one, the women get attacked by the Sasquatch, but then Cody, Dale Wilson's character, appears and he gets into a fight with the Sasquatch and knocks him out. And he manages to save Brian Christie's character, but it turns out they don't know where Sabrina Larivi's character ended up, and when the Sasquatch wakes up, we find out that he took Sabrina's character somewhere to I don't know his hideout or something, and
You don't
when
exactly get to see that part, do you?
I sorry, what did you say?
Exactly get to see that part, do you?
Yeah, at the end we get to see the girl Sabrina Larivi's character wake up, and the Sasquatch is right in front of her, and she screams, and that's all. We don't really get to know what the Sasquatch did to her afterwards.
Okay. And what did you think about the creature of the Sasquatch? Do you think that that was a decent man in a suit?
Well, yeah, the costume was pretty cool. It's an iconic part of Joe Sherlock's work. I think the same costume may have appeared in some other movies, if I remember correctly. Like there was something similar in Beyond the Wall of Fear and in Dark Zone 13. Maybe it was the same costume. I'm not entirely certain, but could be. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay. Um, do you think that the scent of a Sasquatch was actually pretty cool, a pretty cool short?
Yeah, it was. It was. I may have forgotten to mention this first scene when Dale Wilson's character is watching a news article about Bigfoot, where we see John Bowker's character as a news reporter or something like that, where he talks about the same Bigfoot that we see later on.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, and the setting is also very interesting. This forest where they're filming, it looks a bit like the location where they were filming the outdoor scenes of the Evil Maker, but found out it wasn't the same location, but it does look kind of similar.
Okay. Um, what did you think about the last bonus short that was
Oh,
after the bloopers?
The Eyeball of Fear. Well, it was an interesting addition. It was, I think, I saw it on Beneath a Dead Moon before. I saw it on Vampiris as well at Vault of Horror. So it is a pretty interesting short about a group of teenagers who are not quite played by teenagers. Yeah, they end up at this location where they get attacked by this killer called the Eyeball of Fear, which we find out was someone who got killed in the past and got brought back to life by a scientist who, if I understood correctly, was originally his father. He
Okay.
says he says they killed his son, but now he is bringing that son back to life. But instead of a head, he has this giant eyeball, which we can see on the front cover of Vampiris as well at World of Horror. So this is what our eyeball of fear looks like,
Okay.
and yeah, he chases these characters with a pitchfork, and he kills them off one by one until only one survives, as it tends to happen in slashers. It is, yeah, Holly Thornhill's character. She is the sole survivor of the massacre, and she deals with this killer in a very unique way.
Uh,
She,
yeah, she brings him into the light.
yeah, literally, like the fact that he has an eyeball instead of a head. In the end, we find out it's not a mask or anything. It's a literal giant eyeball because when Holly grabs a flashlight out of a backpack and she aims it at him.
Shines it at his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that eyeball that you aforementioned?
Yes, actually, it's the light of this flashlight when she aims it towards his face, and it's what burns the eyeball to death and
I mean,
kills
she
him.
didn't have to have a magnifying glass to do that shit. She just flashed it on him, and he was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Burst to the flames! Get the jolly! Get the jolly!"
Yeah, so she gets rid of him and she leaves, but we don't find out what happened to his father, the scientist. So it is possible that the scientist might end up bringing him back to life again, the same way he did before.
Okay. Um, did you happen to want to say anything more about like is there anything in the bloopers that you learned of either film that you would like to share with the
About bloopers. Well, I don't remember anything in particular from the bloopers. Well, the bloopers were funny to watch like always, but there was one thing I did want to mention from a previous short. We were discussing this Beetle Maniac.
okay.
I wanted to mention this quite creative and unique scene we see at the beginning, which, according to what was said, wasn't originally in the script. Well, no wonder it wasn't.
Uh,
There is this scene where they, as they say, break the fourth wall. So before the blind date, the main girl is taking a shower and another woman enters there and starts to make out with her, which is
uh,
surprising to us as much as it is to her. And then suddenly we see John Bowker and Joe Sherlock watching it, which turns out it makes it look like that scene is not happening, like it's just something they're doing on the set of a movie. Yeah, we see John and Joe discuss how it wasn't in the script, but John tells Joe to shut up, like even if it wasn't in the script, he just wants to see it. And after the girls finish making up, he says, John Bowker says, "I love my job." Yeah, it was a pretty funny thing in my opinion.
I think it was just them having a little bit of a humorous moment between each other.
Indeed, and like I said, the same short exists on Joe Sherlock's anthology, Truly Dreadful Tales, and this part with the girls making out and Joe and John appearing, this whole scene wasn't on Truly Dreadful Tales.
Okay. So Truly Dreadful Tales is another anthology of sorts that has this short film in it, eh?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
contains four shorts. One of them is this one, Beetle Maniac, and there are three others.
Okay. So, ultimately, as a whole, what do you think of either anthology? Do you enjoy both for different reasons, or do you um,
Uh,
or,
Yes, I enjoyed both. I would say maybe I prefer Beneath a Dead Moon a little bit over Werewolf Tales, but I'm definitely glad to have Werewolf Tales too. First, because as we mentioned before, Werewolf Tales, as it is very rare, so it is a very precious item in my collection, both the VHS and the DVD. And aside of its rarity, it contains some things that we don't get to see on Beneath a Dead Moon. Like it has different background music and some extra scenes that we mentioned in our discussion. So and it has this whole short by Ron Ford called Bestiality, which is not on Beneath a Dead Moon at all. So even if you have Beneath a Dead Moon, even if you have seen it, I would still say that Werewolf Tales is worth watching, definitely.
I would have to say the same because I kind of like seeing the three short films put together, seeing how they originally did this anthology before actually going about and you know using what they had left without the Ron Ford short, and then
Uh,
adding some more, and after learning how to edit, probably edit the right way. Back when they probably didn't know how to
well,
do that entirely for that particular anthology. I mean, I thought that the Beneath the Dead Moon was definitely put together rather well.
Yeah, well, actually, I think on Werewolf Tales, Dark Bite and No Place to Hide were, I think they were edited by Kevin Lindenmuth, and on Beneath a Dead Moon, I think they were re-edited entirely by Joe Sherlock. I think they were edited from the beginning, maybe from the same footage. Well, some clips were different. I noticed, especially in Felicia Pandolfi scenes in The Dark Bite, there were some clips of her that appeared only on Werewolf Tales and weren't there on Beneath a Dead Moon, and there were also some scenes like that. As we mentioned before, this entire scene of Stewart's boss watching a video with John Bowker and Yvette Sherlock. It was only on Werewolf Tales. It didn't appear at all on Beneath a Dead Moon. So yeah, Werewolf Tales still has. Even if you have seen the Dark Bite on Beneath a Dead Moon, Werewolf Tales still may have some surprises for you.
Did you have any favorite scenes from any of these short films that we have seen?
Well, there were a few interesting scenes I would like to mention. There is an interesting part in The Dark Bite where Stewart hallucinates his mother's severed head in a card box, speaking to him. Yeah,
Kind of similar to the Odd Noggins.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it reminds me of Odd Noggins a lot. Yeah, and I also must say, I really,
Like
yes,
that head. You just like that head in the box, don't you?
yeah, it's hilarious. I think I first saw it. I watched Beneath a Dead Moon before I watched Odd Noggins, but in Odd Noggins it was even funnier to me, at least, because the head started to scream.
I thought it was kind of interesting how his mother was talking to him with the severed head from the box, and he just screamed himself. that main character kind of was a scream queen in a sense, uh, be- uh,
Yes.
because he did kind of scream just a little bit. I would
Uh,
have to say that would when he screamed from that head, that was one of my favorite scenes.
yeah, well, he screams multiple times. Like, there is this part where Felicia Pandolfi's character requires him to, in order to allow him to use his wolf form to kill Cindy, this person he has a problem with, in
Kill
order to
his friend.
yeah, in order to kill her, he apparently has to kill his friend first, which he refuses to do, and he runs away. And at that point, since he disobeyed the werewolf, Felicia's character, from then on he starts to suffer from gruesome hallucinations that eventually drive him to commit suicide.
Hmm.
Uh,
So,
yeah, we find out that none of those things that he saw from that moment on, none of those things actually happened because he also saw his friend die, which we find out didn't happen because that same friend finds his dead body later on.
well,
Yeah, and
um,
I also wanted to say I found Felicia Pandolfi's outfits in this short really very good looking, both her red dress and the black robe she wears when she manifests herself to Stuart after he summons her. I really liked what she looked like in that robe. Very nice.
is there anything else that you wanted to say before we closed out this discussion?
Oh,
Actually, the music. We mentioned, or you mentioned that it was a little bit different than Werewolf Tales.
Yes, in Dark Bite and Nowhere to Hide or Beneath a Dead Moon, we get more instrumental music, and on Werewolf Tales, the background music contains more vocals, more singing, which, well, at some points maybe it's a little distracting, but it's still pretty interesting to hear and to see how it was edited originally. And yeah, I'd say the music is the main difference between the two shorts on these two anthologies.
And Beneath the Dead Moon was apparently we didn't we said that the Werewolf Tales was put out and well, not really put out. It was never fully distributed at all, or
Yeah,
uh,
uh,
it it had a release only to the cast members
uh,
in about 2001, 2003.
yeah, somewhat like that. I
And
don't.
Beneath the Dead Moon, you said was about 2013, but some of the short films were finished as late as 2011. But putting
Uh,
this together and putting it out there to the public was in 2013.
Yeah, well, I think Werewolf Tales was originally supposed to be released, but I don't know what actually happened. For some reason, it didn't end up getting released. I don't know why. And on Beneath a Dead Moon, yeah, not all shorts were filmed at the same time, actually. There is quite some time difference between them. Like we can see, for example, Bob Olin is a very good example. He played in Tainted Blood and in Dark Bite, and we can see how much younger he is in Dark Bite than in Tainted Blood, for
Mm,
example.
okay.
Uh,
Um, on that note, I think we should be able to close up shop here. I mean, I think we've gone through each. compared a little bit. A bit. I mean, to me, I think that Beneath the Dead Moon is more rounded. I mean, in Werewolf Tales, seeing to the last one, the Hyde one, uh, seeing it that stripped down, it's almost as if parts of the film, the audio was somewhat blurred, muffled, at least to me. Um,
Well, possibly. I don't know which exact scene you're referring to, but yeah, for example, I do remember, as I mentioned before, this one moment when,
Rob Rob Miracle's character.
yes, yes,
Ouch.
yes, and that part, that those few seconds actually were cut out from Beneath a Dead Moon for some reason. So yeah, I didn't manage to distinguish what Rob Miracle said there. Yeah, like in Beneath a Dead Moon, when Warren EBB's character appears in this hybrid form, we
Oh,
instead of
so that entire scene of him sitting on the couch is actually not on Beneath the Dead Moon.
no, not that scene. The part where after he tells his wife that he is going to a store and he actually goes out to use this formula and transform. And in Beneath a Dead Moon, after he does that, we see Shannon's character and that actor whose name I cannot remember. They have this argument about the guy's extramarital affair, and then they both get killed, supposedly by Warren EBB's character. And that entire scene was not on Werewolf Tales, but instead of that, there are those few seconds right after Warren EBB's character's transformation. We see him get approached by Rob Miracle's character, who says something to him which I wasn't able to distinguish. And that short conversation between Warren and Rob, that part was cut out from Beneath a Dead Moon, but instead of that, we get this whole scene with Shannon and that other guy with her.
Hmm. Okay. Well, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all the time that we have for today, folks. But go out and pick up a copy of Beneath the Dead Moon, and
Yeah,
and if you're able to actually get a chance to talk to Joe Sherlock, you might even be able to convince him. Uh, I'm not saying he will, because I think you are the last person that he actually did that for you, because I think he likes you, and
well, I hope he
you are
does.
such a Joe Sherlock fanatic that
I can't deny.
I think he kindly just caved in and sent you a copy. So,
Werewolf Tales.
yep.
Well, maybe now about the DVD. From what I remember, I did speak to Kevin Lindenmuth as well, and if I remember correctly, he was okay with Joe Sherlock making a DVD copy for me. But yeah, later on, I wanted to track down some of Joe Sherlock's movies on VHS as well, and I asked him if he had any extra copies of any of them, and he said he would be okay selling Werewolf Tales to me. So yeah, I ended up getting that one, which means a lot to me. I can even show on the camera because people might not be able to see it otherwise. I can show what the label looks like. It looks like this, and
Okay.
this it's. I thought it might be interesting to show. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, man. Well, in any case, so um, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen, to our ramblings about these two films.
Yeah, thank you.
And the comparisons between the two, and what we thought of these two put together. I mean, uh,
Indeed, I enjoy them a lot, and I'd say it's worth to see both if possible, as well as the other anthologies that contain some of these shorts, like I showed before, Always Midnight by Joe D. Wynkoop, Joe Sherlock's Vampiressa's Velvet Vault of Horror, and Truly Dreadful Tales, which I don't have right here, and this anthology that I haven't bought called Dead Ink. Well, I haven't even seen that one, but I may buy it at some point. I hope to obtain it eventually.
well, I know I've got dreadful tales somewhere here, but right now at the moment, I think
Uh,
I think right now it's somewhere else at the moment. So,
yeah, same here. I do have it, but it's not right here, so I cannot show it.
but in any case, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boris.
Thank you.
He was actually on one of Joe Sherlock's anthologies called Dark Zone 13, and I am
Uh,
actually one of the producers behind um,
indeed, indeed.
Dark Zone 13. So for a time, we've been going on about Joe Sherlock and John Bowker films, and we've also gone on about some other films.
Uh,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening so far. If you've been listening, and
thank
um,
you, thank you. And happy holidays, everyone.
definitely don't find yourself underneath a full moon anytime soon.
Oh, definitely.
So,
Yeah, don't get attacked by this guy or something like him.
what I want to do is I want to take a week hiatus, and then to let us have our holidays and do what we need to do, and then we'll go on. I'll send you a film probably next week.
Oh,
That
nice.
we'll probably go on about.
Nice. Do you already know which one it's going to be?
I do, but I'm not going
Oh,
to tell you now.
oh, okay.
So, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for a mystery movie coming
Oh,
that we will be going on about, and I will let him know about it next week after the holidays. So,
oh, sounds good to me.
in any case, check out my reviews on Delusions of Grandeur. Check out some of the podcast episodes on Inside Movies Galore on our YouTube channel. And have a great day, evening, and morning, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a great day and thank you for listening.
Alrighty.